Good morning, fellas. Got a good night's rest. I hope you guys got some good rest too. Thank God the markets are closed so I can catch up here on the weekend and do some updates. That is a good sip of coffee. And right now, the markets, this is Bitcoin. The markets ended the week on a pretty bad note, I would say. We had a good thing going. We are ready to go, ready to rock and roll. I did not like this candle on the close. The weekly closed red after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive weeks in the green. And then the weekly here on the Qs closed still underneath this line here of resistance. This has been the bane of the Q's existence. It's very difficult to get over right now. The IWM bearish engulfing candle. The Dow Jones, the worst one out of them all right now. Very, very bearish in my opinion. You got a big bearish engulfing candle. And it looks like the weekly cycle is possibly starting to break here as you have a cycle reset on the weekly when you take a look at the Dow Jones. Get over here. So usually the RSI band. Okay, not yet. Sorry, we're at the we're at the point. We're at the make or break point on the weekly right now for the Dow Jones. But I think if we do break it, you still got to break this downsloping trend line. So you still got room to run down, but potentially bounce up for another high again. The SPY, similar situation. You got that big upsloping trend line. The weekly cycle, I believe, is still intact for the time being. This corrected. Actually, it looks like it already broke, and you're just what's really happening here is you're just you're just about to roll over because you already broke the weekly cycle right here on this drop during the Japanese yen drop. So this is all like Gazi. It's in my opinion that means this is invalid on the weekly cycle. The Qs are actually very choppy, very much more difficult to trade. You could see this cycle is trying to break down. It's just trying to it's trying to keep its head above the water. But if it does start to roll over, this will be a very dramatic sell-off indeed. And the IWM is one of the more tricky ones as well. But again, small caps, we'll have to see how they're going to trade. I would have to say that this could be about to break down as well. It's really losing it. It tried to stay above it, but if it starts to break down now, then yeah, we're in line for a bigger market correction here. Okay. I want to dive into some other things because the market's closed with some pretty bad news, and I don't know how everyone's gonna take it on Monday morning open. Bitcoin took a pretty nasty correction. It's already bounced back, and the dip was bought. Um, and then let's see here. Let's try to just scan through Twitter real quick to see if there's any more news about it. NATO. There's some news about NATO that's trending. Let's see. Yeah, there NATO's gonna stand by Israel. So yeah, it looks like it is. It is. The attack was real. I'll have to check the overnight market prices on what oil is doing. But if it is real, oil should surge. But every time we've had a war news event, oil has dropped for whatever reason. Right? There's just a negative correlation at the moment. But if it is for real, for real, for real, then the news should be definitely bullish for oil, and this should start to skyrocket. But ultimately, I want these lower prices. I would really love these lower prices for a generational buying opportunity. You don't get those like COVID, right? COVID $0 a barrel. I mean, like, come on, don't get cheaper than that. Let's see here. We could take a look at the Japanese yen as well. So we had a nice pop back up on the close. The Japanese yen is starting to correct back up here. You can see this 45-minute cycle came to an end and it's trending back up. To me, kind of looks like a corrective move for maybe one more low down. and then continue on 5 waves, which would confirm the top. But we'll have to see. We'll see next week once this move ends. And really, we're still short. We're holding those contracts on FTMO, and we'll continue to swing those as long as the trend remains true. Because if we find a significant top here in the yen, then we're also going to be near a significant top in the market as well. All right, so there you go, 45. Sorry, this is the 4-hour cycle. Just want to get on the daily to see what's going on here. Okay, and you just had such a great bullish divergence. So you got a pretty steep angle here. So this needs to keep going up and higher before it breaks. So if it does start to break on a daily, then you'll have your confirmation that the top is in, and that this move, it was going to correct down, and we're going to head down to these lower levels here. Obviously, the target is affected. I think if I'm not wrong, if we correct down to here, so yeah, the target goes up a little bit. There we go. So it's not that's bad. It gets bigger too. There you go. So there you go. That's the target that I have. And then we'll take a look at some bigger names as well. Take a look at TLT. We'll focus on the TLT. So in terms of yields, I was looking for another high. It looks like we may get it. Another push higher here in a 5th wave. Final rally up before a bigger corrective move. So maybe you get the markets to pull back next week, right? But it'll be a viable dip, like here, like this will, the yields will come down, and then the market's going to be euphoric again, and it's going to be a viable dip. But ultimately, this move in yields should continue higher now, and you'll see that really, yields are going to go much higher because everything they're doing right now is inflationary, and they're pricing it in, right? Everything they're doing is inflationary. If it was really that deflationary, and we're going to go into a recession, and the bondholders are probably taking the recession into account and how much money they're going to print to get us out of that recession if we fall into it. So that's why the yields are already going up, because they're like, man, these guys are nuts. They're just going to print us into oblivion. So that's why we're probably seeing the yields do that. And we can even check Market Cipher to see the trend of the yields of what's going on here. What is this, 10-year into 20-year? So you can see on that 4-hour tight little momentum wave, green dot trigger wave, that is indicative of another high that we're about to make here. You got some bearish divergence, so also near a little bit of a topping phase here in the yields. But really, you want to focus on the larger time frames, like the weekly and the monthly. So the monthly is still very, very bullish. Very bullish. Thick green money flow. Should see definite more upside here. The weekly time frame also very bullish. You should see yields continue to rise. The daily is just slowing down here. So that's why I said you may correct back down. You may see yields drop. Maybe either not next week or in a couple of weeks. And then the market can get a breather, and then yields should resume going higher. Similar situation in the 20-year. The weekly time frame is also extremely bullish right now. And the monthly, well, the monthly doesn't really have enough data. But we could check the TLT as well for the 20-year. The TLT is looking like a viable dip soon for a counter trend rally, right? So something like this, you need an ABC. You got bullish divergence, everything you need to make a 5th wave at the moment. You just don't want the 5th wave to get divergence to get erased and extend to wave 3. That would be very bearish indeed. And then you can take a look here at the weekly cycle. So the weekly cycle, you've been in red money flow ever since 2020, basically, since they started raising rates. You can see the rates started going up and the bonds have been going down. And we finally found like a low here, finally. And we got that nice rally, and we were really hoping for more upside. And I also was hoping for more upside. But again, when the trend changes, you got to take your profits, and that's what we did. We exited at 97, or actually on TMF, we exited around this area before the collapse really ensued. And on the daily, well, yeah, I mean, focusing on the smaller time frames, I'd say that this thing is due for a counter trend rally, a bounce. Okay, but maybe you make another low with more bullish divergence first. So we'll take a look at crypto as well. So Bitcoin, what, 66,800. It was looking very bullish indeed. It looked like we were about to break out of 69,000, which I still think we can do, but obviously it's a little bit tougher right now since there's all that news out there that's going on. So we'll see if those geopolitical events have any impact at all on this asset class, because we made a killer option trade this week with Emmett MicroStrategy. We were up 430%. We closed our option up 430%. We had some runners that those are the runners that we closed, and we had the main one that we closed at 203%. So an amazing week overall. MicroStrategy is an insane stock. It is just going vertical. People are FOMOing into it. Obviously, there is going to be that big corrective move at one point that's just going to drive this thing back down. But for the time being, it's like go party. You know, you got big bearish divergence, of course, but hey, finding the tape is definitely difficult at this point. But yeah, monthly got big bearish divergence too. So I think Bitcoin, if it does break out, you'll make a new all-time high. Maybe you'll go to 80, 90K, but ultimately it's going to be a correction of maybe like 40%. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then in terms of the weekly cycle, so weekly analysis for wave edge, so you can see got some big selling here on the SPY. So again, smart money was selling this week. Dow Jones, nothing there, nothing on the Qs, and nothing on the IWM. Maybe you would find something if we went to the futures. Not really. So yeah, I mean, I've continued to think that smart money is taking profits along the way up here, and they are either already sold or they're currently still selling, and a lot of people are getting trapped, maybe in the wrong move up, or maybe we're completely wrong, and this is gonna surge to SPY 600-700, and we're gonna get left behind. But obviously, you know, I won't, we won't get left behind, because if we see the trend, the winds change, then we will adapt accordingly and reposition the portfolio, of course, because that's what we do. All right, we'll cover some individual names now to kind of wrap things up. So Apple is still inside of this ascending triangle here, so a bullish pattern indeed. You take a look at Apple on Market Cipher, you can see the trend is definitely with you, although you are losing green money flow on the daily, which is not great. The weekly cycle, you got increasing green money flow, bullish dual band strength index numbers, all bullish signs, but we'll have to see. I got my doubts, but I'm definitely not opposed to longing Apple at the breakout and watching this thing run to like 300. I got no problem with that. So, and we got some good news too, right? It's not all bad news. So Tesla, right? The bearish scenario is invalidated. Okay, now what? Do we just continue to short because of our bias? No, not at all. The pattern has changed. This can flip to a bullish pattern now, right? You got some divergence, of course. Now you got it's an ugly pattern. I'll tell you that. Probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, and like a 5, somewhere along to that. And then you have this. This could actually continue to run up. That would make a nicer corrective move, because now you got a 1, 2, maybe another 1, 2, and then this is gonna run up, because you got divergence, right? You got that fifth wave divergence, so you can get rid of this, right? This is probably like not gonna happen anymore, and you can start to rechart, right? And go with your analysis. And it's not to say that the levels don't work. This worked beautifully, and if you would have shorted here and then you dropped it and they dropped it, then that's beautiful. Take your profits. I told you guys on fifth wave divergence, you want to get out of your position, because this could start to reverse, and I would never thought it would have reversed that much, but there you go. That's it. So now you can make the case that it's something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a 5. But obviously you got some invalidations here on the first wave and the fourth wave. So that's why I say it's really ugly, because for traditional Elliott wave people, they're gonna start crying and screaming that this is an invalid sharp pattern, and they're right. This is definitely invalid, And then you can also make the case that we're still inside the third wave, and this is going to explode up with a 1-2-1-2 setup, right? And this is going to continue much higher. And this is thing like it means like this means like Tesla is about to explode up, right? It's gonna explode and it's gonna surge. So I wouldn't be short this name anymore. We did a short trade on Tesla, just trying to short it right around 261. We got stopped out. And we got stopped out because that's what you do. You need to stop yourself out when the position doesn't go your way, or else you risk blowing yourself up, like a lot of other people do. All right, and then we'll go to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA continues to try and make all-time highs. Not sure if it did make an all-time high here on Friday. Did it? Okay. Got some bearish divergence. Do we? All right, I guess we got some bearish divergence. There you go. But this should be the third wave ending. Yeah. Actually, you can make the case that the top is in. I'm extending another wave higher, right? But if you really want to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, then you could. That's okay. But we'll have to see how this plays out. Let's just be patient because I can definitely remove a count and make the top in for NVIDIA. But I'm curious to see because I want to see the SMH get into this area like I've talked about before, and then see that big rollover. Not just see it dump right now for whatever reason. I would like to see this get into this area here. And then we'll finally take a look at Google. Google making its way up here. Maybe we get that this target area hit before it's all said and done. Meta got a nice little bounce up 96 basis points. And then let's see. I think I covered everything. To be honest, I think that's it. I don't think we have more to take a look at. Mara has been a great setup for 1-2-1-2 pattern. Looks like Mara was a dip buy at the close. You could chance it and try to risk it for a corrective move. So this looks like another 1-2. So again, 1-2, very deep correction, and this can continue to surge. Like this would mean Bitcoin is about to take off. And now when I look at a lot of charts, even Hut Mining looks good and looks good for another extension of a fifth wave. And maybe in a race of diverge of the third wave, if this peak gets taken out, then the third wave extends, then this has much more room to run, and it's going to go much higher. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. I'll give you guys more updates as we go. Obviously, it's a busy weekend for me. Peace.